Hello and a warm welcome back. Today on the bench we've got a box of big valves. Nothing like audio related unless you include rectifiers. They're all mostly 866As, which is a half wave Mercury Vapour rectifier, and there's a few interesting thyrotrons in there. What I'll do, I'll whip this off the bench and we'll look at each one in turn. Right, first up is a boxed 866A GU25. While I'm doing this, we've got a 866A slowly cooking, feeding it 2.5 volts, and I'm using a toroid transformer that I've just whacked a load of big copper on there. Bigger, I think is what, about 6 turns, so it's a centre tap 2.5 volt heater or filament supply. Hopefully later on we're going to be testing some of these, so let's dig into the first box. Alright, what's we got in the first box? Looks like sort of military packaging. Just be careful not to touch the transformer over there because we've got live mains poking about. That's better. So this is what a lot of these old valves are wrapped in. It's sort of like a tissue, I think it's called crepe paper. Right, well that doesn't look like an 866A to me. That looks, what is that? DC6 41000 blah blah blah. Second up is what it says. It's a GU50, which I presume is an 866A. Made in England for GEC, the General Electric Company. I love this old packaging. The only problem with it is it's just sometimes it's really the military packing especially is a bit mad. Okay, GU50. Right, I presume that's a Mercury Vapour. Sorry, I can't say it today. Mercury Vapour Thyrotrон. Mercury Vapour rectifier. So this probably is, I'll have to look this up, I haven't got this on my notes, a smaller version of the 866A. Got a date code on it, the 23rd of August 1961. GU50. I'll have a look at the other one. Let's have a look at another box here. 866A GU25. Running out of space here. Same crepe type, what's it call it? Okay, and that's a, right, it's still right. Okay, I'm going to have to look into this because this doesn't look like a 866A. DCG4 1000, that looks like, I mean basically they're essentially the same. So that looks more like an argon thyrotrон. That looks more like a rectifier. We'll find out later on. Intriguing. Right, what else we got? We've got another GU50 here, it says. They could actually be, oh, I've just noticed something looking down there. I don't know if you can see that. It's like a spring, which I assume that is the filament. And this is some sort of shield maybe, and then this is our anode. We'll dig into those later on and try and get to the bottom of the mystery. So I've not had a look at these myself properly, so you're getting the first look the same as me. Okay, GU50, same date code as the other one, 23rd of August 1961. RH, not quite sure. That's a GEC. Yeah, they're both GEC, those ones. A couple more boxes. And this one is a RR3 250, which is, according to my... Sorry about that, the camera's playing silly buggers again. Oh, what have I done here then? Argon, Mercury Vapour, negative. Right, what the hell? Oh right, I know what I've done here. Right. So yeah, this is an RR3 250 Xenon Mercury. Sorry, it just says here Xenon rectifier. I've not made myself very good notes at all. 10 kilovolts, really high voltage, 2 amps. Filament voltage 2.5 volts at 5 amps. This one looks like it's been used. It's got dust on it and you can feel it's mucky. Yeah, 3B28, British made, Mullard, with a code there. Yeah, you can feel it's rough to the touch. You can sort of tell it's been used in some equipment. Right, that's not the same as the other RR3 250s that I've got. If I can try and find one. Or is it? I'm telling lies again, I think. This is another RR3 250 Mullard again. Let's have a look. Yeah, the envelope, the bottle is slightly different. Sort of a bit more bulgy here, and this one's got a shorter envelope. And I presume this is the anode. Here, maybe, is a bit different. It's got like this sort of mesh there. Interesting. So that's another RR3 250 that we've got there. Have a look at the other box. And then this is a 866A. This is an 866A. The 866A, again, really high voltage Mercury Vapour rectifier. You can see there the mercury is sort of spotted all around. And you can't just power these up straight away. You have to, especially after they've not been powered up for quite a while, you have to leave them on for 30 minutes. That's why that one is over there cooking. Bit of a loose base, made in the USA, RCA. Yeah, I'm going to handle that one with care. This loose base is tricky. I have tried re-sticking a few. Apparently they used sawdust and some sort of glue, and apparently you can sort of re-stick it by putting methylated spirits on it, but I've not had much success with that. They're pretty easy to desolder because we've only got 2 pins that are actually soldered. It's just a matter of using a big soldering iron. Alright, let's see what else we got. A little knife. We've got this one, which is a 393A, and that is a Thyrotron, Argon and Mercury Vapour Thyrotron. And this one's a little bit, it's got a what do you call that, verdigris, isn't it? I can't remember the damn name of the proper name for the thing. Jan 393A, made in USA, Western Electric. And this one feels like it's been used too, with a big mesh. Oh, well, this is your anode. I don't know what this is, whether it's a screen or not. That's another thing we need to dig into. And another one. This is another 393A. Exactly the same, Western Electric. Oh no, this one's different. This is a CV128, which is it's a rectifier, half-wave rectifier. This one has got 10 volt heaters up to 2.4 amps, and you can shove 3 to 9 kilovolts through this thing, but the 9 kilovolts is just like a sort of peak thing, so you can't do that continuously. And it's saying the current for the anode is 250 milliamps. So as far as I know, a lot of these Thyrotrons were used in motor control. Really big beasties. 4-pin jumbo 4-pin base. Right, we're running out of room. Pop you over there and try not to touch the mains. Okie dokie. We've got another 866A. RCA again. As you can see, the mercury spotting is a little bit different to the other one over there. It's more sort of consistent. But we shall pop those on the cooking rig in a minute. This said it's another 393A. Thanks to Peter, who kindly went and got these off Jim, and Jim kindly gave me and Peter sort of had half of the valves each. So yeah, thanks Jim, and thank you Peter very much for going and picking them up. Again, this is another 393A. Got a bit of verdigris on top there on the top cap. Not, yeah, it is a top cap, isn't it? So waffling. And we've got another 866A. As you can see, the mercury sort of gone into like a leaf shape there. Interesting. You can also see, hopefully in there, up the sort of connecting rod from the top cap. You see there's like mercury sort of collected around the connecting rod. I'll put him right at the back. Another 866A. Again, this is an RCA, made in USA. I shan't do with Dave Jones. As you can see, we've sort of got like the mercury sort of gone into like leaf sort of thin foils, which is interesting. Another 866A. Originally, I mean, like a lot of people, I was quite smitten with the blue glow these gives off, which these give off. But for all intents and purposes, they're not really practical to make a power supply for a valve amplifier. But having said that, I am going to build an EHT power supply with maybe 4 to make a bridge rectifier. But that, yeah, that will, yeah, I'm not quite sure how I would do that. I'd need to probably wind a transformer. So we'll pop him over there. I think, oh no, we're nearly there. I've got 2 more valves to come. I've got a smashing, this one feels brand new. So this is another CV128. Look at the size of the thing. You can put some really serious power through there. Although interestingly, I think this is more like really high voltage, lower current than the 866A. But yeah, you see all the ceramic supports in there. You see the getter down there. Beautiful valves. Again, to actually build a power supply with these things is a bit nutty, but I think I'm going to anyway, just to, you know, give them some use. And lastly, we've got another double R3 250, again a Mullard. So yeah, a nice lot of valves. Thanks again Jim. So what I'll do, I'll put some of these away, and then we'll start cooking some 866As, and then hopefully later, if I've got time, we shall try and test a few with a really high voltage transformer. Just taken this cooked 866A off. It's still warm to the touch. I don't know if you can see there, all the mercury sort of gone in like pooled in blobs around the base there. I think we've got a bit more around here. These would really cook properly once we start to apply high voltage. So that's one done. On to the next one. So that's the next one on the test stand, as it were. I've basically got this transformer hooked up to an isolation transformer and a variac, so that I can apply voltage slowly. Hopefully you can see over there the actual voltage, 2.5 volts. So what I'll do, rather than filming it continuously to save the battery, I will put the camera on every 5 minutes to see if we can see any change in the dispersion of the mercury. Just move you a bit closer. I'll leave the camera there. See you again in 5 minutes. About another 5-10 minutes later, just notice that the filament voltage is just gone up a tiny bit, but that's normal because as the filament gets hotter, the resistance goes down, the resistance of the filament, that is. I can't see any detectable change, but then again I've not actually compared the two bits of footage. Zoom you in, the kicks. Can't really see anything of note there. See you again in another 5 minutes. About another 10 minutes now, and most of the mercury is vaporized apart from this bit here. I don't know if you can see that. So I'll leave it till that has perhaps vaporized. But yeah, this is going well, although it will take quite a while to do the 5 or so that I've got. You know, what is it, 5 times half hours, blah blah blah, 2.5 hours. So I'll continue on and see you all later. And we have liftoff. I'm filming on wobble cam because this is all sort of a last minute thing. It's getting dark, it's getting late, and to try and set up the tripod, etc, etc. So let's have a look at some figures. This sort of craziness over here, I did ultra 3 times 4 times check all my connections. We've got a big toroid there supplying the high voltage, 600, where are we, 600 volts RMS offload. We've got a little bit less, and we have liftoff. I'm filming on wobble cam because this is all sort of a last minute thing. It's getting dark, it's getting late, and to try and set up the tripod, etc, etc. So let's have a look at some figures. This sort of craziness over here, I did ultra 3 times 4 times check all my connections. We've got a big toroid there supplying the high voltage, 600, where are we, 600 volts RMS offload. We've got a little bit less, I don't know if you can see over there, I'll best tell you because you probably can't see. We've got 2.4 volts on the heaters of the two 866As. Should be 2.5, but it's under, so what else do I, oh yeah, we've got a 1 microfarad 1500 volt DC microwave capacitor. So basically all we've got at the moment is just a capacitor, and we've got this big 820 ohm load, which I can smell something burning. So let's just kick that off for a minute. Yeah, that's cooking. Yeah, smell of smoke. And we're running the, I screwed up on my calculations for the filament transformer. I'm having to run it through another transformer. I'm having to run it through another transformer, sort of configured as an auto transformer, if you're with me. So it's a right bleeding Eve Robinson setup. but when I was just reading, so this one here is reading DC volts, and this is reading one of the 866A current through it, and this one over here is reading the other one, and we were getting 240, 250 milliamps at 600 volts. So that isn't bad, is it? I wanted to do a lot better setup and sort of show, show me testing all the 866As, but I'm afraid that will have to wait for another day. As it is, we've seen some nice blue glowy sort of business going off, so I'm going to get this posted. It's Sunday evening the 6th. Going to get this posted so you've got something to watch. Thank you very much for watching. Ta-ra for now. 866As. I have these Chinese top cap doodahs, but with the ceramic shell on, it's really tight, and there was a really good chance of me breaking the valve. So I've had this problem before. These bloody Chinese top caps do not fit some valves. So yep, I've got 600 volts AC there RMS, 600 volts AC RMS there. I'll show you a schematic in a minute so you sort of might have a bit better idea what's going off. And then we've got a filament transformer, so you're basically, our AC goes in there through our anode. So these are just basically like great big diodes, but very high voltage diodes, into our top cap, which is our anode. Then it goes through our filaments, and we're taking our B plus or EHT or whatever you like to call it off the center tap of our filament transformer, because the filaments are the cathodes. That's just going into a 1 microfarad 1500 volt microwave transformer. Just what I got. It could really do with being bigger. So let's bung the heaters on. As you can see over there, the bloody glare is a bugger. 2.5 volts, a bit above, and it does say on the data sheet it has to be bang on. Well, I don't know how that can be, because the regulation of AC mains isn't good. I'm turning the variac down here, and then what you'll see is when we apply EHT, that will go down. So we've applied some filament voltage, and so on a power supply, how this would work, there would be some memory filled up. So yes, on a power supply there would be some sort of timing sort of circuit which would basically connect the EHT after say about 20 seconds. If we've not got a timing circuit, I'm having to use myself. So here's the left hand. We don't really want the left hand over there. This is mains voltage. I've just basically tagged it onto this transformer to give it a good anchor. So now we apply EHT. There we go, and as you can see we've got some nice glowy business going off, but you can't see it as well as you could last night. So let's see what's going on. As I said, the filament voltage falls a bit. Just pop that up a bit. Right, now this one here, this is reading one of the 866As. This one here is pulling 230 milliamps AC or RMS. No, I don't know, that's wrong. 230 milliamps. The other one is doing 250 milliamps, and that is our HT voltage, 580, 590. And if we pop up here, you can see the waveform that's coming off there, so it's quite a bit of ripple. What's that telling me? Right, that's at 100 volts per div. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 400 volts peak to peak ripple. Probably because we've got only a very small capacitor. Let's have a look at their glowiness, because this is all they do really, isn't it? I mean, they're just bloody great big fairy lights, but really high voltage fairy lights. You can see in there, got a bit of flickering going off. Mind you, some of that will be the camera's frame rate. So as you can see, this is the anode, and I presume like the filament inside there, this is sort of like the, well, it isn't the cathode. I don't know what this tubular structure is. And can you remember when I was saying about this flake of mercury that's stuck on the side there? Well, that's still there. So basically how these work is by passing a really high voltage through the valve, mercury vapour conducts electricity, and that's how they work. So instead of working like silicon diode work, you know, what they use mercury as the sort of conducting agent. But you've got to get the mercury pretty hot, hence why you have to have the heaters on for quite some time. And even though I've got fans on this 820, no, even though I've got these fans on this big resistor, that's still getting awfully hot. Well, I mean, if there's what, 250 milliamps times by 600. So let's kill the power. And then let's test some more 866As. And then I want to test some of those R3 250s and some of those DCG 1000s. Right, I'll get cracking and reconfigure. Here we are, half an hour later. It is a bit of a pain having to wait for these things to cook, but there we go. Right, so they've had heat now for half an hour. We can now apply EHT. Let me bring my fans on. Fans on. It's a bit like Thunderbirds, isn't it? Thunderbirds are go. Or are they? Thunderbirds are not go. One moment. Part of that was a snafu on my part. So this one had a loose base, and I was just checking it for continuity, and then the valve just fell off. So it had no continuity when I measured it, that's why. So that one needs a base sorting out. And then I've been looking at the continuity. I've swapped it for another 866A. We've got continuity there, and we've got continuity on another one. So now I've got to wait another half hour while these cook. Right, well these have been cooking for, I don't know, right, get your thing sort of out. Right, these have been cooking for quite some time. I don't know how long because I lost track of time. So editing the video as I go along here. So let's whack some EHT. There we go. This is the same, one of the same 866As we had, and this is the replacement with the one where the valve base fell off. Right, let's put some air on that. And what have we got? Again, we're getting the same thing, look, which is interesting. Can you see that? Hard to see. 231 milliamps and 253. Now then, why is this? That's odd that we've got two totally different 866As and we're still getting more or less the same current in the same positions. All the EHT windings are exactly the same, made of the same gauge wire, so why? There's a disparity there, isn't there? And we're falling down a bit, let me, there we go. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why that is, that's a bit odd. Yeah, the filament transformer, it's all the same gauge. Basically, as you can see, I've doubled up the copper wire. Yeah, I don't know, that is odd, that is. 602. Yeah, 255, 231. This video is getting a bit long, so I best wrap up. I had a thought about these tubular structures. I think there's some sort of beam or some sort of focusing sort of plate. The filament's inside that tube, and as you can see, the glow is mainly sort of contained within it. and sort of spills out. Can you see that? So I'm thinking it's some sort of thing to focus the beam. Not that there is a, well, it is a beam of electrons, isn't it? So I think that's what that is. If you also notice, this anode on this one is black and this one is silver. This one is black. Don't know why, whether there's a difference there. Yeah, one thing I wanted to clear up before we dash off, because we're going to have to test the other ones like these ones in a separate video. This is a DC4. Right, this is a DC6. I don't know, what the hell is it? I make this a DCG4 1000C. If you look at the data sheet for these, some of these have a big bayonet screw, like Edison screw fitting. These are, again, a Mercury Vapour rectifier with a whacking great 10 kV PIV, peak inverse breakdown voltage, maximum 2 kilovolts, and my notes aren't really telling me much else. So again, the higher the voltage you go, the sort of lower current you can pull. There's only so much power you can dissipate in heat. And lastly, let me move him over here. We will just have a look at the schematic. So this is what we've got. We've got a big toroid here. There's a mains voltage. There's our secondary centre tap, 600 volts, 0 volts, goes to ground. There's 1866A, there's t'other. So as you can see, it's configured as a full wave rectifier. Where these things get interesting is the filament transformer. So here's our little small toroid connected in parallel, and the centre tap of that is our B plus HD, EHT, whatever you like to call it. To do a full wave rectified version of this, you need 3 separate filament windings. The positive going cycle of the full wave rectifier is the same as this, but when you get to trying to get the sort of negative part of the cycle, as it were, you have to have another sort of separate filament transformer. We might get into that hopefully at some point in the future. Right, I'd best shut this down because that resistor will be cooking. So I hope you found that interesting. Bit long-winded, sort of Mailbog, mad scientist sort of mucking about us sort of video. Right, take care of yourselves. Thanks very much for watching. Ta-da for now.